I absolutely cannot believe what we just witnessed. Again, I am recording this episode a good 30 hours maybe. It's 10:20 on a Monday night. 10:20 p.m. And I'm still just as hype as I was when that game concluded. Oh my God. This is the best Knicks team I've seen. It's not even close. I, was born in 95. Didn't get to really watch the 90s Knicks. It's the best Knicks team I've ever seen. And I'm sure there are people who were born in the 80s, in the 70s that tell you, well, it's not far. It's not far. Unfriggin' believable. Let's talk episode 674. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. Welcome to the podcast. Let's go, Knicks. Let's get it. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball. Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
Trying to close the show.
She was doing a great job of feeding.
That is it.
It's over.
Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks? Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks?
Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Unbelievable. Unfriggin' believable. Really just fucking hard to comprehend. I don't know that it's processed yet. Again, I'm recording this 10:30 p.m. on a Monday night, and I'm still having trouble processing that win from Sunday afternoon. To go on the road and then to lose the first game on the road, give Philly a little bit of confidence, momentum, if you will. I was just a little bit nervous, I'm not going to lie. But I'm stupid, because why would I be nervous with this team? They continue to do it time and time again. To remind you, hey, don't count us out. Don't worry. I have absolutely no, no doubt that this Knicks team is going to find a way to win this series now. No doubt. Does it happen in Game 5? I hope. Wow. I don't know where to begin. We could summarize it. I can sit here, talk X's and O's, and I might do some of that. Sometimes a win's just so amazing because of the grit and the hustle and all that there's not much to break down. So this might be a shorter episode. I don't know, man. It's getting harder to do this and give the same analysis about what I liked and what I didn't. This team just, they have the factor. 97-92 was the final in this game. The Knicks got off to a little bit of a tough start. They had trouble getting good looks at the basket. With Embiid down there, it looked like they were a little tentative. I think they were down 10 early. Brunson was really the only one giving you offense. But the Sixers were living with that. They were letting him make shots, but they weren't letting the role players of the Knicks beat them. But the Knicks remain competitive in the first half. They find themselves only down by 2 points by getting hot at the end of the second quarter. At halftime, they're down 2. Second half, you get some rough minutes in the third quarter, and Philly's once again on the verge of really pulling away. I think they're up 60-51 at one point. And who but the best athlete in New York City sports comes through with 3 consecutive makes for the Knicks and one in there. And the Knicks just, fourth quarter comes, they put their foot on the gas. They get just enough separation. Brunson's Brunson. Thibs with a very smart move to go small, and it pays off because of their defense. Their offense wasn't exactly great in that fourth quarter, but their defense, my gosh, their defense. Listen, I like, don't get me, I'm going to do it. This is why Tom Thibodeau is king. And this is why all you critics of Tom Thibodeau aren't shit. That's why you're on the couch. That's why you're on Twitter. The Knicks are conditioned well for this. They're ready for it. Tom Thibodeau's preparation, his obsession with preparation, and his obsession with winning. Him running all these players out there 40-plus minutes a night. Everybody's so concerned. Oh, he's going to run them into the ground. Just following some narrative you heard on Twitter. No. No. What that does, again, the word preparation, it prepares the Knicks for this atmosphere, for this style of ball. It prepares them for 48 minutes of physicality, of conditioning, and hustle. It's conditioned them for the postseason. That's why when people are playing the minutes police game, I'm never one of those guys, because they're pro athletes. They're the best athletes in the world, especially NBA players. The conditioning they have to be in. Josh Hart, does he ever look tired to you? And it's just that's how they win these games. Each of these 3 wins, they're up 3-1, baby, have been because of how well conditioned they are to do this kind of labor in 48 minutes. And then when you're playing a Sixers team with a very compromised and hobbled Joel Embiid, that little bitch, who's not in that kind of shape, even when he's healthy, he's not in a great shape to be conditioned and running at that pace. And now you're seeing it pay off. It's the physical and mental toughness of this friggin' team that won them that game, just as it did the first and second game. They have been animals. They have been animals on defense. They've been animals on the boards. On the boards, the Knicks went with a small ball closing lineup. Their front court was 2 6'8" forwards. And they hounded the glass with 11 second chance points in the fourth quarter. Philly was just winded. You had OG Anunoby crashing. Precious Achiuwa crashing. Josh Hart crashing the offensive glass. That might have been like Josh Hart didn't make a damn shot in this game. He was 0 for 7. Couldn't have told you that. Because it felt like he had his better game of the series. This team, man. This team is just, their chemistry is there. They have there's such a likability, if that's even a word. But they play as a team. And it's so refreshing to see this team play like a team in the modern NBA, where you have all these teams who don't really have the greatest chemistry, and you have the Phoenix Suns doing the anti-Knicks and just trying to assemble 3 misfit superstars together. and getting swept. You know, you have these teams who just don't have chemistry, but they've got names. And the Knicks might not have the talent that other teams do, but they've got such a good chemistry. And eventually they might need another guy, but they've got such a good chemistry that them getting this kind of notoriety, I think, is going to help the NBA realize, oh, maybe we should do it the Leon way. You know, getting Jalen Brunson's friends, getting all the guys under the same CAA agency. Maybe this is working. Getting guys who fit the mold of their head coach. Yeah. That's why when people mention that players don't want to play for Thibs in that poll, who gives a shit? It should be about getting players who do want to play for you. And you're hearing more and more guys become interested in this team. Devin Booker being the latest. But this is a team, man, who I don't know how long it's going to take to get a ring. I know it's going to come. They're going to win a championship at some point. We're going to be looking back at this team, and we're really going to be just like talking about how much we enjoy these times. This is a team that's special, and this is the team that will win Larry O'Brien someday. I swear to God, my voice cracked there. I'm not crying because I'm not an emotional person. My voice cracked. But if the Knicks ever do win, oh man, whew, unbelievable. And how about, speaking of the Knicks fans, good God, it was chaos, madness, insanity at Wells Fargo yesterday. I always laugh when I hear Philly fans try to act like, because in the back of their minds, they know, but they try to act like they're the best fan base in the world. Meanwhile, they can't even decide whether or not they want to boo or cheer for their guys. But these assholes are so pathetic. These trashy Philadelphia fans are so pathetic. How do I know they're pathetic? I watched the game and I saw 90% orange and blue in their shitty arena. I saw after the game, Knicks fans hoarding. The entire building was full of Knicks fans outside of Wells Fargo chanting fuck Embiid in his own stadium. There were MVP chants when Brunson went to the line. Brunson was saluting the crowd after knocking down shots. It was MSG in there. Knicks fans were going nuts. You've probably seen all the videos by now. I mean, they were putting Knicks jerseys on the statue outside. Oh my God. But I think the best part for me, like, I'm such an asshole fan. When my team's good, I'm cocky as hell because it's fun. Because as a Knicks fan, you take enough shit. The best part for me about winning that game was in the third quarter there when Isaiah Hartenstein goes to the bench with his fifth foul. You got the Sixers fans, all 12 of them, doing their little wave. And they pan to Dawn Staley, South Carolina, doing the wave as well. And that just made me mad. And so the second the Knicks won this game and Embiid bricked that final shot like a little bitch, I fucking smiled and I did nothing but think of that moment. Oh. And I've been on social media a little bit more than I should have today. But when I got home and I was scrolling social media for a good hour, I was seeing videos of fucking Sixers fans, content creators, and they're losing their shit. They are going nuts over there. It's some of the funniest shit I'm seeing. Now this series is not over. It's 3-1. I have, again, the utmost confidence that the Knicks will finish this thing off. And hopefully it is tomorrow. What better way to do it than to do it tomorrow? I mean, Joel Embiid. Good Christ. I'm almost scared for the guy because I have no idea how he's going to make it out or in to MSG tomorrow. I mean, the noise that building is going to make the roars that he is going to hear when he has the ball. It's going to give us another earthquake. It's going to shake the earth. That building is going to be insane. Joel Embiid, he's not going to be able to hear himself think. And I cannot wait to hear how that sounds. What a friggin' win. I think we'll start with, Jesus Christ, the Knicks defense. I think we'll start there. So let's do that when we return. When we return from our first break here on BD4.
Hey there. Thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much. You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4.
Welcome back to the show. Episode 674 BD4. The Knicks clap back with an epic Game 4. Again, 97-92 over this scumbag Sixers team. Just felt so good to do it in front of their loser fans. They don't have many, but easy to root against them. This Knicks defense is legitimate, man. They're fucking fearless. You know what I mean? Like, they're fearless. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you're guarding. What the task is, they'll do it no problem. And they'll do it very effectively. I mean, that Toronto Raptors trade was initially the OG Anunoby trade. And it still will be him that we remember from this trade. But you can't ignore Precious Achiuwa. There are two headliners in this trade. Like, Precious Achiuwa has been huge. Had Jalen Brunson not dropped 47, we could be calling this the Precious game. OG Anunoby and Precious Achiuwa against Joel Embiid last night in the fourth quarter. Unbelievable job. The Knicks already without Mitchell Robinson because that scumbag hurt him on purpose. Already without Isaiah Hartenstein because he was on the bench in foul trouble. Wasn't having a great game. So Tom Thibodeau decides to go with his undersized third string big and his starting wing to defend Joel Embiid down the stretch. And down the stretch of this game, the Philadelphia 76ers did not knock down a single field goal. They were 0 in the final 5 minutes of the night. In the fourth quarter, Joel Embiid scored 1 point. Tyrese Maxey scored 5 points on 8 shots. This is a duo. This is the Embiid-Maxey pick-and-roll duo. It's probably top 3 in basketball. They are so potent and so lethal to defend. They're very difficult. The Knicks held those two guys to a combined 50, took them 40 shots, and they shot 38% together. Good God, their defense is legit. The adjustments in the game plan on pick and rolls, right, to the Knicks, they stopped switching it. This way they wouldn't have as many smalls on Embiid, like you had the Brunson mismatch a lot in that third quarter, game 3. They brought the big to the level, but the big adjustment, not switching it, but hedging and recovering. The hedge and recover last night from these Knicks players. They were defending on a fucking string. on a string. Everybody knew what the plan was, when to do this. I mean, you hedge off Embiid onto Maxey. Then you recover back onto Embiid to limit the pick and pop. And to do this effectively, you got to rotate, close out, recover off the help, etc. And to be able to do all that, you need so many things. You need quickness. You need communication. And you have all that. It just creates this excellent defensive synergy. And the Knicks have that. In that fourth quarter lineup, Brunson, McBride, Anunoby, Hart, Achua, defensive synergy, defending on a string. Because one thing goes wrong, the entire defensive stand blows up. But you just had synergy in the way they were able to recover, rotate, and do everything last night in that fourth quarter. OG Anunoby, the adjustment there to take him off the point of attack, put him in backside help, have Hart at the point of attack guarding Maxey. That helped the Knicks get stops at the basket. Helped them get those stops at Embiid. OG Anunoby much closer to those Embiid post-ups. OG Anunoby able to rotate over to stop pick and roll when he was on a non-shooter. When he's playing in that roaming role, that free safety role, in backside help. It allowed them to get so many defensive rebounds. Like, you bring in Hart to the perimeter now. You figure, we might lose some boards. OG Anunoby stepped the fuck up, and he got 14. I think Hart had 17 still. Like, when Hart was off the floor, no problem, because we still got Deuce McBride doing his job on Maxey. And then the fourth quarter comes. Maxey's trying to hunt the Brunson switch. Brunson held his own. And everybody else did too. Like, Hart, excellent in backside help in the fourth quarter. Rotating, recovering. OG Anunoby fronting Joel Embiid. Denying every single entry pass. Forcing him to catch the ball further from the basket. The strength that Anunoby has to be able to bump Joel Embiid off of his preferred spots. Just doing everything he can to disrupt the possession and force late clock possessions and these contested jump shots that the Sixers don't prefer late in the clock. That's because OG Anunoby hounding this guy. Precious Achua hounding this guy. The blocked shots, the contests. He's able to switch anything and guard 1 to 5. Right? His agility, his length, his discipline. Was able to lock down and just play nails defense on Joel. Play excellent defense by staying in front of Tyrese Maxey and switch. So you got to credit Tom Thibodeau. How do you not? Tom Thibodeau riding with what worked. Making the defensive adjustment up top. He could have stuck with OG. But he recognized, okay, well, we've had trouble there this year against those types of guards. OG is a bulky guy. He's not as quick getting over screens. Maxey is a smaller guard. He's very quick off the screen. Let me make that adjustment. Let me ride Deuce McBride and Precious Achua late. Those guys will take us home. He could have easily stuck with DiVincenzo and Hartenstein. But he recognized DiVincenzo didn't have it. He recognized Hartenstein was having trouble defensively. That's Tom Thibodeau. That's any other year, I feel like that's different. Thibs makes the adjustment, and it pays off to a fucking T. So this Knicks defense is legitimate. If you follow me on social media, please, I'm advising you not to follow me on social media because I'm a clown during the game and I let my emotions tweet for me, and it's not me. Because I think at one point I'm like, this Knicks defense, has too many holes. It was like during the third quarter when the Sixers went on that run. But it's legit. It's legit. You know, that's why I always say I like to take the day before I start recording the podcast on the game because I can gather my thoughts and the emotions are less high. What a fucking win. We'll talk about the offense. Let's do that. First, we're going to hit the break.
If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born. Oh man. I'm trying to find the right word because we used the word synergy already, but I guess we can use it twice. The offensive synergy, like the chemistry that Brunson has with his bigs, Hartenstein in particular, to be able to score off the pick and roll, no matter what coverage Nick Nurse throws at him. Like he kept Embiid and Reed in a drop again, and Brunson just continued to attack space, pull up, go to the floater, and he just got to his spots with the space he was given off the deep drop. Especially when Paul Reed was on the floor and a drop. Brunson continues to take him to class. When Paul Reed, that little bitch, thought the Knicks were going to be an easy matchup, Brunson took him to class when he was in drop. Which is probably why in the second half, Joel played the entire half. I mean, Nurse ran him out there to dry. Which now he's questionable for Game 5, but I'm sure he'll play. I hope he does. I really do. But this guy scored 47 points last night. He shot over 50%. He was... I mean, you watch some of the shots that he made. There are so many of them. But the one that keeps coming back to me is that ISO on Embiid in the second half. When he's going right, shoots off his left foot with his left hand, the jumper. I mean, what? Ryan Ruocco was in shock. Like, that was such a fucking shot, if I've seen one. The degree of difficulty, and this guy just makes it look so easy. Floaters high off the glass. He's got such an incredible touch. Like, he knows just the right amount of force to put on it so that it falls. He is such a good scorer. He's got the scorer's touch. I loved it. Every minute of the 47 points, man. The Knicks have finally got him going. You know, he's done a nice job attacking the empty side. The Knicks have aligned their sets properly to where, you know, in this game, a lot of the time they had OG one pass away. But, you know, Brunson using Isaiah Hartenstein, you know, higher up on pick and rolls, flattening them out, high screens, and using guard screens and wing screens to get the Tobias switch and to get Brunson off of Batum and Oubre. He was spamming those switches on Tobias, which, you know, not a mismatch, but Brunson can handle him. You know, and you're using off the ball, like you're using screening from iHeart. I mean, there was I don't know, man. It's just, there's so much. he scores in so many ways. You know, he'll reject the screen. He's been rejecting them like crazy this year. He rejects it. iHeart flips the screen. He's attacking the deep drop. He's using. There was a possession, I think, in the third quarter where he's off the ball and he's using a Hartenstein pin down on the off-ball switch to flash to the wing and catch and shoot. Loses Joel Embiid, and now he's got an open three. He knocks it down. And that's big. Like get him on those off switches to open him up on the perimeter, because we've talked about without Julius's gravity, Brunson's not been getting those catch and shoot looks. That's a good way right there to use him. iHeart's gravity in space is so noticeable. He's able to open up other shooters on the Knicks because he's a threat to go to the floater when he shifts into mid-range space. He's been on the money with that floater. And because of that, it drags a third defender into the action, which is so important to open up the floor for them in the half court. So I could sit here and I could continue to talk. I don't know what else I want to add, man. I'm very impressed with this Knicks team. Let's hand out game balls. Obviously, Jalen Brunson getting the game ball from the starting unit.
Bing bang.
47 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists, by the way. Only 1 turnover, had a blocked shot. Shot 18 of 34, 53%. 2 of 8 from 3, 25%. 82% from the free throw line, 9 of 11. Unbelievable. Cold as ice the first couple games. The Knicks figure it out. He's back. Hopefully he remains this hot at home tomorrow. But yeah, he's averaging 33, 5, and 9 this postseason, folks. Listen, I'm not going to... Fuck it. Like, the conversations that you've been hearing, is Brunson better than Melo? Is he the best Knick since Ewing? It's real now. It's real now. It's a conversation that's real, and it's a conversation that you can have. Richard Jefferson and Ryan Ruocco seemed to agree on that last night. And if Richard Jefferson is saying something like that, I mean, fuck. Melo was my favorite player. I got his fucking jersey right here. If you're watching the video format of the podcast, I got his jersey hanging up right there. He was my favorite Knick. He was the reason I got into the Knicks. I didn't start watching the Knicks until those Melo years. I'm a late bloomer. Like, fuck. Brunson, you can make a case, has been a better Knick already. Like, fuck. Or is at least on pace to be a better Knick by far. Like, what he's doing for this franchise, yeah. You can make that case. So, if you haven't given Jalen Brunson the proper respect by now, like, I don't know what you're doing following basketball, because he deserves the utmost respect for how unbelievable this guy is. So whether or not you want to give him the proper respect, it's up to you. But, like, you're not going to be taken serious if you're out there at this point and you're hating on the guy or you're criticizing him for stupid shit. The Knicks are Jalen Brunson's team. And it's crazy that we're saying this after everybody was giving them shit for that deal. But this didn't start with the Knicks. Listen, Mavs fans were trying to tell people, like, this started in the playoffs against Utah. Right? So this is his third postseason in a row where he's letting everybody know, I'm a fucking superstar. I'm not a star. I'm not an all-star. I'm not a 1B. I'm a 1A superstar. I'm a top 10 player in basketball. Just because I'm not as athletic as an Anthony Edwards doesn't mean I'm not every bit as good as him. And I said it. Look at the fucking numbers. What's Edwards done in the postseason right now? He's been great. Has Brunson not been just as great? I'm not just talking about this year. Brunson's done it for a longer time. He's one of those players. Give him that attention. He should be getting that media spotlight. The guy's that legitimate. So he's getting the game ball, his first of this postseason. And going to the bench. Let's go to Deuce McBride.
Bing bang.
Good God. What a breath of fresh air to get that from Deuce yesterday. 13 points, 5 rebounds, 60% from 3. We needed every bit of that. And he's been doing this all series. 3-pointers, mid-range off the dribble, high release point. The defense he's playing on max. Yesterday, though, with Dante DiVincenzo being off kind of on both ends, man, are we... And Bojan Bogdanovic going down with the injury. We needed every bit of Deuce's shooting. And boy, did he deliver. Big shot Deuce. Money McBride. That should be a new name for him. 18 game balls in the regular season, Deuce McBride had. But this is Deuce McBride's second game ball already in 4 postseason games. He's been such a pleasant player to watch. For a guy who wasn't even part of this rotation before the Anunoby Achua trade. Here he is, leading the team in game balls in the playoffs. Folks, that's it. We're going to head to our final break. I've said everything I've needed to. Anything else I feel like I'll say, it's just going to overdo it. Let's win this fucking series tomorrow. Let's not waste any more time. We don't want to give them any kind of confidence going into back to Philly if it gets to game 6. Let's pound these losers into the ground. Let's bury them, and let's make sure Joel Embiid gets the absolute worst send-off that he possibly could. You didn't get the dirty play in response to the dirty play by Embiid, but you got the win, which is much better. Let's head to our final break, and we'll get back, and we'll wrap this show up. Stay with us. Be right back.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
All right. Welcome back to the show. Let's wrap this up with our trivia. Okay. So for this episode 674 of BD4, our trivia question. Before Jalen Brunson yesterday, how many Knicks recorded 40-plus points and 10-plus assists in a playoff game? All right. Before Jalen Brunson yesterday, how many Knicks recorded 40-plus points and 10-plus assists in a playoff game? That's it, everybody. I appreciate you all. Episode 674 of the podcast in the books. I'll see you in 675, where we will be talking Knicks, Sixers, Game 5. Hopefully, that's the funeral game. Hopefully that's the game where we put the final nail in the coffin and bury these losers, these absolute white trash redneck losers, and move on to possibly Indiana. Oh, if I hate the Sixers, you got no idea the amount of asshole I have in me for a Pacers series. Woo! Thank you, everybody. I'll see you in the next show. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, Download these episodes and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you. And we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees and go Knicks.